It all started at the dance. Barbie, the famous teenage fashion model doll by Mattel, felt that this was to be a special night. And then it happened. She met Ken. And somehow she knew that she and Ken would be going together. So now Mattel brings you Ken, Barbie's boyfriend.
Hello doll fans, I'm Joey and welcome back to Beauty Inside a Box. Today we are going to be talking about the full history of a very important doll, Barbie's boyfriend and favourite accessory, Ken. Ta-da! Don't they make just the cutest couple? They're adorable. If you love dolls, Barbie and Ken as much as I do, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video and check me out on Instagram and TikTok. And anyway, let's talk about the handsome, perfect man, Ken. Ken's full name is Kenneth Sean Carson. He is, of course, Barbie's boyfriend, and he was originally introduced in March of 1961, just 2 years after Barbie was released. He was first advertised in the trade magazines, Playthings, and Toys and Novelties, and he was showcased at the American International Toy Fair in New York. He was only available to dealers in June of the same year. And he originally cost $3.50, which, damn, that's a nice price. It's crazy to think that, like, a reproduction of the same doll today costs, like, $60. Now, Barbie was originally marketed as a tool to teach young girls proper grooming and poise in the hopes that they would eventually gain a husband. Because you have to remember that in 1959, a husband was a meal ticket, you know, it wasn't as easy for women to get jobs, so finding a husband was kind of important. But this is probably why Ken was considered to be a very crucial accessory to Barbie. And apparently Mattel had been getting a lot of requests to introduce a boyfriend character for Barbie. Now, interestingly enough, early promotional images showed Ken in a black and white striped swimsuit, which of course matched Barbie's famous original swimsuit. But this swimsuit was later changed and Ken was released wearing red trunks. Although he was still wearing his original black and white striped swimsuit on the cover of the box. Originally, Ken came with either blonde or brunette hair. The hair was moulded plastic covered in flocking. Now, flocking is kind of like fuzz, similar to a Salvanian, although the flocking did not stand up to rigorous play. So later, in Christmas of 1963, the doll was discontinued and re-released with just simple moulded plastic painted hair. Similar to Barbie, you originally bought a Ken doll in just his simple swimsuit, and then a whole variety of fashion packs were also available. Some of the titles of these looks are In Training, Sleeper Set, Casuals, Campus Hero, Dreamboat, Saturday Date Night. In the Barbie mythos, Barbie and Ken met whilst filming their first TV commercial. Although Barbie says in one of her vlogs that she actually met Ken when she moved to Malibu when she was 8 years old. He was her neighbor.
When did we first meet?
Oh, that was easy. You just moved in next door. We were 8 years old.
Ken has historically mostly been described as Barbie's boyfriend, although since around 2018, they seem to more commonly be depicted as just close friends.
Yes.
What?
Barbara, I know you have a secret.
What?
Your secret crush, you just wouldn't tell me who it was.
Oh, moving on.
Why you always lying?
I think this is because Mattel is aiming for a younger demographic now with Barbie, but we all know Barbie and Ken are dating. Barbie and Ken both got bendable legs in 1965. I love that sound, so satisfying. In 1969, Ken got a new look with a new face mold, a new, more muscular body, and of course, groovy new clothes. Brad was introduced in 1970 and became Barbie and Ken's first ever black male friend. Mod Hair Ken came out in 1973 and became the first Ken doll to have rooted hair. He also came with stick-on facial hair, including a beard, sideburns, and a mustache.
Put a mustache on Ken and make believe he's the bad guy. Or sideburns and play he's the hero.
It's fun pretending they're movie stars, isn't it?
Yeah.
Honestly, this doll may be the most 70s thing I've ever seen. In 1978, Superstar Ken came out with a new Robert Redford looking face mold, and I have to say, I hate this face mold. But I'm sure this face mold is very nostalgic to a lot of people. Superstar Ken also had a brand new body mold with bent arms and articulation in the waist. In 1979, sun-loving Malibu, Barbie and Ken had real tan lines around their swimsuits. This is a very interesting gimmick, which I definitely think would have stirred up some controversy if Mattel had released it today. I mean, it doesn't really promote very good sun safety, does it? In 1980, Sport and Shave Ken was the most articulated Ken doll to date at the time because it had extra articulation in the wrists, elbows, and waist. He also had rooted hair and a shaving gimmick in which you could draw on facial hair with a pen and then shave it off. He also had a unique face mold. Also, look at those tiny, tiny shorts. I need to get myself some of those. 1980 was also one of the first times we started getting Ken dolls with molded on underwear. All-Star Ken from 1982 had an interesting gimmick where when you bent his arms, his muscles enlarged. And the shorts just get smaller and smaller, don't they? In 1984, Dream Date Barbie and Ken went on a glamorous night out together. You can really see the Barbie and Ken aesthetic starting to form in this era. In 1985, the Sensations line introduced a new face mold for Black Ken and a Hispanic Ken. Some versions of the Black Ken had rooted afro hair. In 1987, Ken's look really elevated to a new level of camp. Jewel Secrets Ken was released, and Ken also joined the Barbie and the Rockers line of dolls. Both dolls had rooted hair and a new face mold. An incredibly ugly face mold, in my opinion, with a freakishly long neck. Ken's like a giraffe here. This face mold was very, very, very rarely used, and I can see why. It's ugly. Wikipedia says Ken has at least 40 careers, which is nothing compared to Barbie's at least 200 careers. Barbie is truly bringing home the bacon in this relationship. Ken is like mostly a stay-at-home boyfriend. In 1988, Animal Lovin' Ken was released. Animal Lovin' is definitely a questionable name for a doll line, but anyway. Animal Lovin' Ken was later used as inspiration for the Ken character in Toy Story 3, a great film. In 1992, Rollerblading Ken was one of the first Ken dolls to use a new face mold which had previously been used by Alan, Midge's husband. You can learn more about Midge's history in a video I made recently. I will put a link on the screen and somewhere in the description to that video. I like this new face sculpt. He's very chiseled. In 1992, Totally Hair Ken was released. Totally Hair Barbie is still the best-selling Barbie of all time. Totally Hair Ken used a new version of the Alan face sculpt with rooted hair. And this outfit is like the 60s, but seen through a 90s lens. That pattern on the shirt is everything. I actually want this outfit. I'm going to dress up as Ken for next Halloween. Now, in 1993, the Earring Magic line of Barbie dolls was released, and of course there was an Earring Magic Ken doll. Earring Magic Ken became the best-selling Ken doll of all time before it was abruptly recalled by Mattel. There are a lot of rumors surrounding the creation of this pop culture legend. But basically, in 1993, Mattel was trying to make Ken look more cool, and they hosted a couple focus groups with kids that said they wanted Ken's new look to reflect what they had seen on MTV. I don't think Mattel or the kids realized that a lot of what they saw on MTV, like Madonna and Janet Jackson's backing dancers, were incredibly gay. So the new look they made for Ken was incredibly gay-coded. He's wearing like a mesh vest top with a lilac leather waistcoat, and he's got blonde highlights and jewelry. I'm sure for the early 90s this was very shocking. But the LGBTQ community loved the doll and rushed to the shops to buy it. It quickly became the best-selling Ken doll of all time. I actually have this Ken doll, but it's back at my parents' house. I wish I bought it for this video. I could have shown it to you. Ironically enough, Mattel was nervous that they were going to get complaints about Ken's earring when they actually got complaints about his necklace. This is because people thought the necklace looked like an inappropriate toy, if you catch my drift. This is supposedly the reason why Mattel recalled the doll. Although it could also be because Mattel didn't want Barbie's boyfriend to be seen as gay. Who knows? But Ken has always dressed quite flamboyantly. You know, Earring Magic Ken doesn't look that out of place with other Kens that were coming out around that time. Anyway, that was a very brief summary of the whole Earring Magic Ken debacle. This doll is still a pop culture icon, and I love Earring Magic Ken. I dressed up as Earring Magic Ken for Pride one year. In 1997, Ken got a little brother called Tommy. Tommy was absolutely adorable, but he hasn't been seen since 2007. Someone should send out a search party. By the year 1999, Ken was looking a lot more hetero, with his baggy trousers and muted colour palette. And he was doing lots of manly things like shaving, again. Yes, Mattel really can't think of anything else for Ken to do other than shave. Ken continued to look pretty masculine into the early 2000s, and he even became a photographer. We love that for him, and he took only pictures of Barbie. Most likely to compete with new dolls like Bratz, in 2003, Barbie shifted her focus away from her many careers and her good girl image to focus more on partying and hanging out with her friends. The Cali Girl line of Barbie dolls saw a new, tanned, laid-back, chilled-out version of Barbie and Ken. But before the second wave of Cali Girl dolls, Mattel put out a vote on the Barbie website asking fans if Barbie should stay with Ken, start dating this new character called Blaine, start dating Steven. I thought Steven was dating Christy, so that's a bit messy. Or start dating this new random character called Diego, and I don't think a doll was ever made of Diego. The final option was for her to become single. Now, Blaine would use a face sculpt which was originally going to be used for one of Skipper's friends called Zach, but that doll was never produced. In 1999, Blaine was introduced in the Generation Girls line. The Generation Girls line was a line that kind of celebrated globalization and saw Barbie going to an international school in New York. In 2004, it was announced that Blaine had beaten out Ken and become Barbie's new boyfriend. Honey, the tea was piping hot. Long-term fans of Ken were really not happy about this decision. He was also Summer's brother. Summer was another new character which was introduced in the Cali Girl line. I'm not gonna lie, I think Blaine looks like a bit of a Chad. Ken pretty much disappeared for a while, but he wouldn't be gone for long because in 2005, he was relaunched with a brand new look and a brand new face sculpt. I have to say, I am not a fan of this face mold. Ken has had some really questionable face molds. Also, this look is so boring. Like, this is such a vanilla look. Come on, Ken. Like, shake it up a little bit. Add some colour. In the same year, Ken would appear in the Beach Fun Barbie line alongside Barbie and Blaine. Awkward! This would also be the last time Blaine would ever be seen. He mysteriously disappeared after this. Ken, would you like to explain what happened to Blaine? Ooh, that rhymed. In 2010, Ken got another new face mold. I think this face is very, very handsome. I think this is one of the best Ken face molds. And this face sculpt is very similar to the one which is still used today. Ken's fashion choices were still pretty boring around this time though, I won't lie. And of course, in 2010, Mattel once again decided to revive the shaving gimmick with this new shaving fun Ken. Men can do more than just shave, Mattel. You do realize that. I would love one day for them to make like a nail art Ken doll where he can like paint his nails and stuff. We love a guy with painted nails. So cool. Very Harry Styles. Also, in 2010, Mattel launched a campaign to get the iconic couple back together. There were massive billboards with a picture of Ken which read, "Barbie, I want you back." And fans were encouraged to vote on Facebook to decide the fate of Barbie and Ken. The drama! It was a very tense time to be a Ken fan. And, drumroll, they got back together! Mattel even released a doll set to celebrate their reunion. They look so cute in reimagined versions of their iconic original swimsuits. And Ken even has a lipstick kiss on his cheek. Adorable. I really want this doll set. Today, Ken is truly able to experiment with his look more than ever. We've had Kens of all different shapes and sizes, of all different looks and abilities. The BMR 1959 doll line even introduced a Ken doll with makeup on. There are adorable Ken dolls being released for the upcoming Barbie movie. The yassification of Ken is truly complete. And of course, Barbie and Ken are still going strong. What an iconic couple. So there we have it, doll fans. That was the complete history of the original heartthrob Ken. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like it and subscribe to my channel, and let me know in the comments which era of Ken is your favorite. Please also watch some more of my videos and check me out on Instagram and TikTok, and I will see you real soon, doll fans. Bye!